Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. On the Siren post-match reaction video, coming to you from my backyard as I attempt to record a video without waking up my child. So, wish me luck. Well, footy's back, everyone. Footy's back. I think we all realised that at about quarter time, that footy is in fact back. Where are my eyes? There am I looking. That's where I want to look. Footy's back. Footy's back. Look, honestly, I think the game was lost at quarter time, if I'm being honest with you. I think the game was lost at quarter time. I said it last night on the Thursday pod into the show that my fear was that we were going to get jumped by a side who, you know, were match hardened. They looked great last week and they started the game in unreal fashion. Like, credit to Hawthorn, they were pretty much flawless in that first quarter and we didn't have an answer. We got a great first goal there from Isaac Kako and then that was kind of it. And yeah, I think it was pretty much game over at quarter time, unfortunately. The thing I am feeling positive about is the way that we just didn't completely roll over. I think Essendon teams of the past would probably have let that blow out to a 10-goal plus margin. But I think if there's one good thing to come out of this Brad Scott team, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of deficiencies and we'll get into those, but if there is one positive, is it that this team, I think, has a bit of grit and they are willing to fight to the end of the game. Unfortunately, though, it's a lot of the other things that let us down. Very similar to games last season where we win a lot of the footy, we get a lot of first use, and we just butcher it. We butcher the pill. We don't give our forwards the best opportunity. We don't help each other. We don't kick it to people's advantage very often. And maybe that's just a sign of a good defensive unit from Hawthorn, but it just felt like there was countless times sitting there. I was sitting on level 2. I had a nice vantage where people just weren't putting it out in front of guys very often. We were often just kicking it over people's heads. We were kicking it too short. We were just making bad decisions and turning the ball over. And it felt like every time we had a little bit of momentum, it was one of those moments that let us down. You know, there was a few, frustrating umpiring calls where, we just kept falling over. And then when we fell over, it was holding the ball. When they fell over, it was a high tackle. And, it was a bit annoying. But look, at the end of the day, I think they just kind of held us off after quarter time and did what they had to do, to be honest. I didn't think we had the firepower to get back, particularly after Langford went down. They've got a very strong defensive outfit. The Barras-Sicily battle combo is going to be hard to stop for a lot of teams, I think, and we just don't have the cattle, I think, to go with them, particularly the way we were delivering it forward. Langford's not going to take a hanger against those guys. Caddy tried, but he's a kid. Drape's had some moments, but he also let himself down a few times, and we can't really rely on the first gamer to be the one to win it for us. What are my other concerns? I'm very concerned about the Shield and or McGrath halfback setup because they're two guys who get a lot of the ball, and if you look at the stats, you'll sit there and go, they had good games, but there were some decisions made by them. There were some defensive efforts by them that really worried me. Shield in particular, because this guy's, it's the last year for him. At least on his deal, that is. Is he going to go again? Is he going to go to another club? Who knows? And he had acres of space at times, and then he would just kick it straight to Hawthorn players. And it's like, well, if you can't do that, playing off the halfback flank, and you can't hit targets when you've got that much room, I don't know why you're in the team. Unfortunately, I don't think there's many other options because we don't have a lot of depth, sadly. We've got a lot of very young guys. And look, they might get their options, Maybe a Sardell Hawley will get a game at some time. Maybe a Zach Johnson will get a game at some point this season. But, I don't think we have a great deal of options, unfortunately. What else bothered me? I mean, a lot of the defensive efforts bothered me, to be honest. I think Ben Mackay was sitting on the couch for the first half with a lot of people. He looked asleep in the first half, got into the game in the second half, but for a person who's come over on such a big deal, that is just not a performance that we can stomach, to be honest. It was kind of disgraceful, if I'm being honest with you. Needs to get himself involved in the game more, getting beaten by smaller opponents, getting just caught out of position in no man's land. Weirdly, I thought he looked better when Ridley was off, but maybe that was the fact that he, probably had to rocket up him at half time. Reedy, Reedy looked like a kid who hadn't played footy in a year. Got caught quite a few times. Looked very slow and just was struggling with the speed of the game. But look, I think that's just going to come with the territory. I was sort of thinking about it a bit on the way home, and I think one of the big differences between us and the Hawthorn team we played tonight is that we're at a point right now where there's a handful of guys who I think we all agree that it's just about getting games into them. It's about getting games into Zach Reid, Elijah Sardis, Nate Caddy, Isaac Kako. You can maybe throw Archie Roberts in there as well. And that's where we're at, where we've got these guys who go, hey, look, there's signs there. We think they're a talent. Let's just get games into them. Let's help them grow. And then you look at Hawthorn, and that's not where they are on their journey right now. That was them a year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where they were doing that. They had young guys, and it's just like, we just got to get games into them, develop them. And I think it's just the reality that, there's 4 or 5 guys on this list who are in the team, tonight, who are just so young, so inexperienced. And look, it showed. It really showed. Things I liked, Jai Caldwell, easily our best player. Maybe even close to best on ground, but I mean, it's hard to go past some of the Hawthorn players, to be honest. So Jai Caldwell was enormous. Just leads from the front. It's baffling for us as supporters as to why he's not in the leadership group, but look, it's not our decision. What else did I like? I thought Harrison Jones was okay at times. He seemed like someone who was more reliable taking marks, and I did wonder if when Langford went down, he might have gone to play deeper forward, and I don't know if I saw that. I mean, you guys watching might have recognised that happening, but I didn't think that really happened. What else did I like? I mean, not a great deal, if I'm being honest. I mean, Duz had a crack, but he just needs to work on his disposal, as do a lot of people. I think Sardis really struggled with the intensity of the game early on. He got involved a bit later on towards the game, but, this is expected. Like, as great as he was in the practice matches this season, he's not running up against those guys. And this is the real deal. People having a crack, and, this is a Hawthorn team with pretty lofty aspirations. And, guys like Newcombe and Will Day and all that really showed just how good they are. Any other goods? I mean, Brian and Draper, I think, did what they had to do as ruckmen. But I think we were just comfortably beaten by their midfield, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. Well, look, I was pretty filthy at quarter time and very, very flat, and I'm sure a lot of you were as well. But, coming out of that game, there was a few small passages there where I think we got it to, a 4-goal margin. It was like, if we kick the next one here, could be on. But that was it. And look, I think most of us expected this to be a loss as much as my heart wanted us to have the upset and, kind of do what Richmond did last night. I think that was probably just a little bit beyond us, particularly the way that we fronted up in the first quarter. So, look, on to Adelaide next week. No Ridley, no Langford, I'm going to say. So, congratulations, Tom Edwards, debuting next Saturday. I think that's probably going to happen. Does Gresh come straight in and then they just deal with the backline as it was, and that's just kind of the team? Or is there another change there, maybe in Sardell Hawley coming in? Or is there someone I'm forgetting? But, yeah, pretty concerning losing those two. I think Redmond also spent some time off the ground. Redmond was a funny one. Starting in the midfield, going to Newcombe, it almost seemed like he was going in there to tag, but I didn't feel like he had a great impact, if I'm being honest. And yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think some of our midfield setups early on were pretty poor. And then we obviously went to, relying on Colwell, Durham, Merritt, our best mids available. So, yeah, watch this space on that one. But anyway, guys, footy's back. We're back. Thanks for the person who sent me a photo of myself walking into the ground. That was lovely. Bit strange, but that's okay. Anyway, I'm going to go see what's in the fridge, eat some leftovers, upload this video, and go to bed. We'll see you for the pod on Monday. Go Plains.